let's talk about workers' compensation awards. Remember, this is the third benefit that someone gets when they get hurt. Medical treatment is number one. You get paid if you're out of work is number two. And then the third benefit you're entitled to receive is an award for your injury. Now, in workers' compensation, there literally is a chart. And if you think about it, at the top of the chart are body parts. So we have a hand column and a thumb column and finger column, leg, foot, etc. And coming down the side of the chart are percentages of disability, 2.5, 5, 7.5, 10, etc., all the way to 100. Okay. So if, let's say, you injure your hand, you would go to the hand column, and then you come down the percentage, and then you cross-reference it to, and there's a little box, and inside the box is money. So when we go to workers' compensation court and we are discussing any case, it is always in terms of these percentages of disability. I don't go to workers' comp court like if it were a personal injury lawsuit, a car accident, stuff like that, where you go and you say, I want, $20,000 or $50,000 or whatever it may be. In workers' comp, it's always done in terms of percentages of disability. Now, of course, we know that the higher the percentage, the greater the dollar to our client. But the conversations are always in terms of, I want 10, I want 20, whatever the percentage might be. Now, once you know what the dollar value is for the percent, then the question can become, if there is an issue, that is, if, for example, it's a denied case, or if there is a medical causation issue, or basically you're fine, there's no real injury, now that you've gotten all the treatment, then there is a mechanism by which the insurance company can make an offer of money, but then the case is closed so that you can't come back in the future. So when we settle a case by way of an order approving settlement, and you get a percentage of disability. So let's stick with our hand case. And let's say you're diagnosed as having carpal tunnel, but you don't need surgery. So the case might settle for 15%, 12.5, or 15% of the hand. So you look at the chart and you go to the hand column, and then you come down the chart to, let's say, 12.5%, right? And there's your money. Now, in addition to the money, you also maintain the right to reopen the case so that if the condition gets worse, you have the ability to reopen the case, which means basically you get to hit the redo button. The insurance company is in the future responsible for medical treatment. If you had to be out of work again in the future, they got to pay you. And then there's going to be an increase in the disability, which means you're going to receive more money for that injury. Okay. And then maintain the right to do it again and again and again as many times. As long as the medical condition is related to the original injury, you can keep doing that. Now, at some point, if it gets that there is now a causal relationship issue, let's say it's 12 years from the date of the original accident, then the insurance company may say, oh, you know what, instead of resolving it that way, here's another $5,000, but we're going to close the case. Now you have 2 years from the time that you receive the final benefit in which you can reopen your case. So that's our statute of limitations. Sometimes, right, the percentage is high enough where you don't receive the entire award in a lump sum. What happens is you receive a portion, and then you will receive payments until the entire award is paid out. So what workers' compensation says is that you have 2 years from the date that you last receive a benefit. The percentages don't go by your annual salary. The percentage, first of all, when we look at this, we go to the year of the accident. For example, if you got hurt back in 2018, you're going to look at the 2018 chart. And it doesn't matter that we're in 2023, and it doesn't matter if you're reopening the case for a second or a third time. We go all the way back to 2018. Each percentage of disability, or the dollar value for the percentage, is based partially on what's called the state average weekly wage. So each year, the percentage, although it stays the same, the dollar inside that little box goes up a little bit. And the reason that that goes up a little bit is because it is now based on that year's state average weekly wage. So example of our 12.5% of the hand in 2018, that percentage is worth X. But in 2023, it's worth Y. Same percent, but the dollar is greater because now those percentages are based on the 2023 state average weekly wage, which is higher because of cost of living. Now, workers' comp is tax-free. Somebody just asked me this week, if they're going to get a W-2 from workers' comp. The answer is no. Any benefit from workers' comp, be it temporary disability or these awards, they are completely tax-free, so you don't pay taxes on that. But again, the most important thing to remember is that 2-year window. It's not, I've got to wait 2 years before I can reopen my case. It is, I have a 2-year window from the time that I received a final benefit. Now, that's also important because although we're talking about orders and settlements, if we settle the case and if a year later the insurance company sends you back to the doctor because you make that request, okay, then you have the ability to come back and reopen that within that window. But that 2-year window won't start to run until you get to the 2-year window won't start to run until you receive the final benefit. So that's how that plays out.